The International Criminal Court is now in session. L'audience de la Cour pénale internationale est ouverte. Please be seated. Veuillez vous asseoir.
Yes, good morning all. Could we have the appearances? Again, we'll start with the representatives of the victims.
Well, that's very kind. Thank you, Madam President. Good morning, Your Honours, dear colleagues. Good morning to everyone in and around the courtrooms. The participating victims today are represented by my Associate Counsel, Anan Shah. Next to me, my case manager, Saif Cassis. And behind me, our visiting professional, Charlotte Imhof, and myself, Nathalie von Wistinghausen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, prosecution.
Good morning, Madam President. Good morning, Your Honors. Good morning, everybody. Myself, Julian Nichols, with Alison Whitford, Claire Sabatini, and Rachel Mazzarella. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And the defence.
Your Honours, for Mr. Abd Al Rahman, there's Thomas Châtelet, our intern, Marcella Velarde, our assistant, evidence review assistant, Ahmad Isa, our case manager, immediately behind me to my left, Audrey Matteo, and myself, Ian Edwards. Mr. Lauchi is otherwise engaged this morning, but he'll be with us this afternoon.
Yes, well, you can tell him that he will no doubt be cheered up to hear that his words of wisdom in opening may well be streamed live, probably via Facebook, as opposed to anything else. But if not, the YouTube will be up within a matter of some hours, I gather. So you can pass that on to him.
Thank you.
Right. Ms. von Wistinghausen, this, of course, is a Fur-speaking victim. So I'm sure that you understand the necessity for very, very short questions, if possible, without a lead-up, if even more possible. Right. Madam, good morning to you.
The participating victim, good morning, I am well. How are you this morning?
I'm glad that you can hear and understand me. And before
The participating victim, indeed, I do hear you well.
is the picture supposed to be like this? That's what I thought. Sorry, say it again. Yes. All that I'm going to say is, you know Miss von Wistinghausen, who's going to ask you questions. And if you need a break outside the one we will take in about just over 1 hour, then please say so straight away.
Participating victim, certainly.
Thank you. Yes, Ms. von Wistinghausen.
Good morning, Madam. It's very good to see you this morning. I hope that you had a good rest. Just a few things I would like.
The participating victim, I am well indeed, thank God.
As I have discussed with you yesterday, it's very important that we speak slowly and that we make short sentences so that the interpreters get everything we say, and more importantly, the judges get the full account of what you want to tell them today. So, as I also explained yesterday, if your answers get too long, I will just raise my hand like this, which, as I explained, is of course no disrespect, but just to give you a sign to stop, to wait for interpretation, and to continue. All right? Okay, good. So,
The participating victim. All right. And I will raise my hand if I have anything to express or any problem.
absolutely, that's a very good idea. Madam President, can we very shortly go into closed session, please? It will just take 2 minutes.
Yes, we'll go into private session.
We're back in open session, Madam President. Madam, your home village was Kudum. Can you tell us how many families, how many people approximately lived in Kudum before the attacks, before you had to leave your home village?
Gabela gun. Ora kanga songa. Nja gabila kendi nga kayiru. Solonga kuko.
Answer. We were all of we were all we were all four. We were in majority four. There were some Arabs and some different tribes among us.
Can you give us an idea of how big your home village was? How many families, more or less, lived there?
Wallahi ala kuduma yenne kai arba. Gumtini. Jurle. Ramatas. Derle. Aba ala aba kaimba alfi ala bakawani.
And so there were many families from the neighboring villages, Rongatas, Kudum, and Nierle. The approximate number of families was 1,000.
And when you were growing up, who did you live with in your house?
Kwesi. Dante. Nika dream iya. Dream ba. Na kuing amandora. Ashar na farkandang yale. Kira kana rabangedang yale.
And so I used to live with my mother, father, and 10 of my siblings.
And your family home, what did it look like? What type of house was it?
Dai tongol. Dai tomba dayang. Ki kwaldi ki dai ki kaan ki kuruma. Kai ngosha do ki dai.
Answer. Our houses were made of straw and wood sticks.
And what kind of work did your family do, including yourself?
Wallahi ba tare kawingi ba. Rabbi yang ata ke kai ba tare kawingi. Kai silewa tare ka. Na doing bagal makanas kenga. Ngai dere ke rabbi.
Answer. We were engaged in farming and in other activities. My father was a shop owner.
Did you have animals?
Answer: we only had few animals, goats, that is.
And did you go to school?
madrasa you.
Answer: yes.
Until which grade did you go to school?
Adi siniraba.
Answer: I went to school until 4th grade in elementary school.
And were other family members in Kudum or in nearby villages such as Bendizi? And did you see these other family members on a regular basis?
Miskanga kudum taban kelele angole kul usras kanga. Zimirle ala kanga. Zisider ala kanga. Zibindizi kwe mama kaya. Doing shagiga. Na kul sur kilo. Na saran si dona jone la jona. Ram wajera mendinga.
Answer: yes. I had family members in Kudum and nearly. I also had maternal uncles in Bindisi. We were in touch regularly.
And can you tell us about the relationship between the people who lived in Kudum and other villages?
Taban kaba kwa kul usura kanga sur kilo ngaba adi fara ke adi na kika ni yenu kundula. Adi gal wafake kika ni yenu kula nuna ili abas kala aja basin anya aja basin kala aja mama bambara.
Answer: we were like one family, and we were in touch on happy occasions and on sad occasions. And I had maternal aunts in the other villages whom we used to visit, and they used to visit us as well.
And can you describe some traditions or events that your family and the community would celebrate all together?
Jiddan wasin.
Answer: indeed, we used to hold occasions.
Can you describe such occasions so that we get a better idea of what it is that you celebrated and how you celebrated it?
Eid Ramadan taban kika siam kamuel muslim kana siam zakar Ramadan 30 yom. Badal Eid ba halas nabi wana sala ba nabi yana farhana ban na ziyara taban niki mbar ngale ayem kundula na dogola dokya gal miskien tombola kartia na kaule كلمة سمو بي
Answer. We are Muslims. We fast in the month of Ramadan.
كربي نمزوا كلام نمقالي بعد نبضم نبض بون نبض خلاص تعرفنا قد كتب بلو قدم بانو فيه نتبع نجيب بين كوا جمال كين طبعا أما لك أي مشكلة كين
The four interpreter says that he is not able to understand the second part of the answer because she speaks too slowly.
أقالون خلاص بس تنبه.
Madam, I apologize to stop you. Can you try to get a little bit closer to the microphone and speak a little bit louder so that the interpreters can hear you better, okay? Thank you.
إيه كويسة ده كيس كده خلاص كويسة.
Answer. We are Muslim. We fast in the month of Ramadan. After the month of Ramadan, we used to celebrate the post-Ramadan Eid, and on that occasion, we would put on nice clothes, visit with neighbors, and you would see children playing in the streets in celebration of the Eid.
I would like to ask you about one of your cousins on your mother's side. And for that, I need 1 minute in private session, please.
Yes.
كويسة.
We're back in open session, Madam President.
We're back in public session, so don't mention again the name of your cousin. I just want to clarify with you, he was around 25 to 30
Oise.
in 2003, and you had a very close relationship to him. He was like a brother to you. Is that correct?
Inankanga bakiang.
Yes, that's correct.
And he was a student in Bindisi at the time?
Yes, he was a student.
A few more details about you. We understand that in 2003 you were recently married. Yes?
Yado ke doing tong kane ba nap susenda ke doing tong ki uring kane no we ndio kala sani kayo mune mune.
Answer, yes, I got married in the summer of 2003.
Okay, sorry. Was there a marriage celebration? A ceremony, and who attended?
Answer, we didn't hold a large celebration because there was a lot of unrest during the time in the country, so we only invited close relatives.
And you and your husband, after your marriage, did you have your own home, or did you build a new home for the two of you?
Answer, yes, we were in a separate house.
And how many children do you have today, and how old are they?
Answer, yes, I have 7 children. The eldest is 20 years old. After him, 18 years old, 15 years old, 12 years old, 8 years old, a 6-year-old, and the last one, the youngest, is 4-year-old.
I want to talk to you about the attacks on Kudum. And there were several. So let's first speak about the attack of the 15th of August 2003. All right?
كويسة.
All right.
Can you explain to the judges what happened in Kudum on the 15th of August 2003?
كويسة واسين طوالي.
Yes, I will relay everything in details.
Go ahead, please.
كويس. هجوم طبعا هجوم الساعة 6 صباحا. نكوا كوني طبعا بقوا كده السلام تسوق كاينس كولتانس جايسن كندليا. Maga bali kari. Alga bali kari.
Well, the attack happened on Kudum on the 15th of August 2003. It started at 6 in the morning with the prayer in the morning. People were still getting ready to go to the mosque to pray, and the attackers shot heavy fires on the village. We were scared. With our children, we headed to the forest and we remained there.
Did you yourself see anyone being killed or injured during the attack and before hiding in the forest?
داين جيران سكون دراتك سي نمو الجنة سكون نزي أولو الكاما عبد الكريم أبين بانكوي يابو داين فوق بوس كاما na هو سبب كريم الله يرحمه الله كوي كول تيزا شورين كول حليمة تويوانا سكيا مدارة كنكاي حاضرة ويبا دولة دكتما ديما بس بيتا كوني كبيرة سينا قادر هذا بعلم كلمة kwa موت ساسوان إيما جنيني هو عمر ماما أدرس بي ماما يدك الله يرحمه.
Answer: yes, when the attack took place, I saw so many bodies. One of them was the body of Abdul Razik Al-Faqih Al-Jannah, the body of Abdu also, and there was one grand scholar called Sobi was killed as well. Halima was also pregnant, and she could not run with the people, so she died later.
Did you see houses on fire?
Tonga ket kis kuye. Nang otanga, yori ne ka tule tule si katabe. Nakabe. Nang al baral asa tonga kuye na kiyong otanga katabe ne ke ying.
Answer, yes, I saw flames. I saw the attackers coming on horses, on vehicles, and they burned the whole village down. After this, they went back and they looted everything in the village. The cattle, donkeys, sheep, and everything in the village, all these belongings and the properties in the village, it was all looted.
You said that you fled to the forest. Was that with your husband or other family members? And how long did you stay in the forest?
Duo kikien kerga jikala nuna tani anela kaba. Ki dua kawa kudin mare. Na yed kensi dora kenga tinenga. Dien ya warwe. Kien kyo. Gabale, masni kwa yomen. Talata yomen iri. Taban. Malia anika. Malia magar.
Answer, I was not with my husband during that time. When we went to seek safety in the forest, I was with my mother-in-law, and she had grandchildren from her daughter. We remained in the forest for about 2 days. On the third day, we headed to Mokjar.
Before heading to Mukjar, did you go back to Kodum and did you see what the village looked like after the attack?
Gaba karra ke aba gaba da ile bada kinde ko ngana utu asa ele kuyeli ba ile kena longon di bana tonga ba guru ko ile ena ko kan tele kinyi ngai ko ile bala no gaba ndi ko kan ki utu si ko ko ile kan to
Answer, before we headed to Mukjar, while we were in the forest, we were able to return to the village in secret because the village was not that far from the village. and we were able to see the burning houses in other villages as well as ours.
Did you see dead or injured persons, and could the injured persons be treated?
طبعا كيرا على هذا كوسي بقى على الفولا عديد وكذا كيرنا هذا وجه ثلاثة يوم إذا كوي ولا دواء أكبا ركعنا مكواجنا كومي خلاص اللهم كوي جيد نما موي لكن كي ما يدا جبا kain jirana kingal kusi ne sa se bus wadde na lam ko dik na do kawren kawai na mugger taban baral mugger kiw man ya si de da karpia nas
Answer: those who were killed were our neighbors, the ones that I mentioned earlier. As for the injured people and those who got injured in this battle, one of them was a woman, the one that I mentioned, who was pregnant. She was already in the 9th month of her pregnancy and she died later. There was another woman who got injured and she could not find treatment, and she was with her aunt, and they were crying because they didn't know where to head to find some treatment.
Did anything happen to your home and your property? Was anything or everything taken away from you?
doing doing tong al ka da to ton jadi da bana doing ayi haja ba jadi da mai sarai lin kan nafsu sanin mai koy ngota sinan kabe doing ton sinan zikuye ayyo da
Answer: the attackers and the looters didn't leave anything behind in the village. They took everything. My house was new, and all the personal properties and belongings therein were also new. They didn't leave anything, even clothes. They took everything. So I just left home with the clothes that were already on me. I was not able to take anything with me.
It has now been 20 years since this attack. Can you tell the judges if this is something that you still think about today and how it impacts you?
معانا شديد دايما معانا كتير كده فقط داين قريبة داين ريانا دولة دكان أنا ساسونا سكي آسيا كان شديدنا كوريا أسكان بالا كده جو كتير
Answer: yes, I still remember many things. We in the camps suffer a lot. We suffer with children and women simply because there is no source of livelihood with which we can provide for our families. The economic situation is very difficult in the camps. Some people go to the forests to bring firewood, and some women work in the market to sell tea, and the young men and women don't have work or jobs, so everybody suffers.
There were 2 attacks on your village, on Kudum. After the first attack that you described, you returned to the village, and what did you do? Did you try to repair your house before the second attack on the 30th of August?
إلى تعرف لي ناكل أسكو بقى لأنه بس أسبوع تاني 14 يوم إيري خلاص متاني كي هنا كدولي الساعة 10 برا فطور متاني جي واجي من كاي خلاص ما ينا دو كورونا ككيا نكيو مرو كواسي كوم وابانا بالذات الكوتو منا ككيا برا دكان يعني مس تونك باقي كلا هسه مسكول أنا كن ريباين باقي نساي نمكابي علم كو يابس بايتي اكتساب بارنا أونا طبعا علم كو يبونا نكو يتي فتا اكتسب سكاينا تي موانا أنا كاي شديد أنا تي موانا تي أنا تاري بيشي كوغان
Answer: in the forest, we did not stay long. We stayed for 14 days, 2 weeks. After that, we returned to the village at about 10 or 11 in the morning. We did not stay there long before the attack returned more severely, though, and they killed the people who were unable to run, children and elderly, and they looted whatever was found or left behind, all the properties and the cattle. And they also raped all the girls that they found outside of the village. I remember there was one woman and a girl that were raped.
I'm sorry that I stopped you. That was for the sake of interpretation, of course. Please continue and tell us what you saw.
Ekte allan koy dok toksi nama dok asan tasi ban kawa allan koy nama taban ki solondu nkwa ille ne ko mo kiru ki solondu si dabba solondu ker den bara nama ki bari elna allan koy si tabutana nama tabu nyera na ful lakin dogala dokyan maida alkayla na ki dule salgar rafia kwa pangalga dira doga
I,
Answer: yes. When we returned again to the village and the second attack happened, I remember that there was a woman who resisted the rapers. She was able to resist the first raper, but another Arab man shot her dead. Also, children were running and the elderly were running from the village. Those were targeted, directly killed.
This is something you saw with your own eyes, and where was it?
alkayl halas yenamas arrakini halas nama ke nama yena ma baden kwa kasi sondun te ya ana is umuba ille ne pui ma yena ke kiru nama
Answer: when she met the Janjaweed, they tried to rape her, but she resisted. But another person hit her with a stick, not with a weapon. She lives with us in the same village, and she is a relative. She is close to us, not that far. Message from the four interpreter. The first segment of the answer, there was a disconnection or connection problems, and I couldn't hear it.
Madam, can I ask you to repeat your answer because there were connection problems? When I asked you whether you saw the rapes with your own eyes and where that was.
Isu jo alba do kudum anga alkorelingi alan kial nama yena ki solo anga rakini halas kin ausi nama lo toke taban ka hajere nga marang kain bar nga gene elle tokang nama lo toke kin sino sektasi bankawe indi kesegal nama dem baraw ke yena ma ki solo kiru ne kwa solo ka sektasi nga gabe illa ne pui ma jebua ma kiru nama solo bara elna tabutan ki boriba ma tabu nyera hadir nama we kalas bar nga kin alkay legal nama yena kumena.
Answer: this incident happened in Kudum. as we were leaving Kudum. Two women ran into Janjaweed members, and that is when the Janjaweed members raped them. The other woman, who ended up killed, resisted and refused to be raped. So a Janjaweed member threw her to the ground, undressed her, and as he tried to rape her, another Janjaweed member came and hit her with a stick on her head, and so she died.
Those women who survived this violence, do you still know them, and do you know how they are doing today, if you know?
basi alum in upudungo hasi ken jamii ale shagala kan zato ken dan ani tobi dan jamii tobi ne ken shagala ko siasa taban ide njar ke kuye ke kurunga halas alhamdulillah sa koisi yana ken shagala pe ne min ko shiru kangare koisi de indi ki sagala ko ngala rahama.
Answer: yes, they are now fine. The elderly lady works with me at the same association where I work. They were both treated in Mukjar with hot water and herbs. Now they are doing fine.
Thank you. So after the second attack on Kudum, you left your village for good and went to the forest. Can you tell us what the living conditions were in the woods?
ايه ودي سيك يا خالص أكلك يا ولا شرابك يا طبعا كورو لو ويلا أنا بوتا لك دوبا أكل بس دي يعني كامل ليه كده بس كروب كري كامل ليه بس برا ديك كانكي بس أوتو جا بس نما يسنغاري تاتا يكوا بانغا نفسياتا أزباي مكرا وينغا أنا حالا بالبلا دوالو كي أنا مكما بس دي نو ينو داين حالا صعبة ما شديد نكوي قال كلا ديني با.
Answer: at the forest, the situation was very bad given the lack of food and drink. This war coincided with the fall season. There was a lot of rain, however, we did not find anything to eat or drink. There was a woman who had some grains. She boiled those grains and distributed them on people. We, as adults, we had no appetite for eating given the incidents of killing and burning that occurred in our village. And so we distributed that little food to children only. We had no appetite for food.
I stopped you, so if there is anything you want to add, please do so. And I also wanted to ask you if anyone was sick and injured from your family during your stay in the forest.
Ile wala. Dui mamang kwe anga maruk. Dui mamang kwe chana tar kan tar tila sala ke bawa. Lasi nama sing ania kartia. Bansali ma sing kartia. Las nama ye liana. Ina lame titi anikale ni kana sunja kare. Kela disi ala suturum tia. Agal kiyo liana di mujer. Ali jengka nindawa sing kartia. Di ala jengka.
Answer. At the forest, a maternal cousin of mine had a wound in his leg. He was shot in his leg. Correction, his foot. But it was a simple wound. We treated him with the use of penicillin. Then we let him ride a donkey to go to Mugjar to seek treatment.
What about your mother?
La dui wallahi tabanya dunya ya shawaya kida ila queen da alladdi na ila irhaq shawaya tin sur wajana ngai la ila irhaq na mayena waja sur si jegi nas waja sur sama fiya queen da gila alas fina tibenya padal mu gerkyo las na mado kya de waja ti na khalas ajondi ba ngaya mindi sikayna alas Wing as in an waja, I don't give a can and take waja, keras we have an antaurakura. I am often the other ham.
Answer. My mother was exhausted and her health situation deteriorated significantly due to the rain and the tiredness. Consequently, we went to Mukjar. After Mukjar, we arrived in Bindisi. We tried to provide her with treatment. Her disease continued for a long time and she was not healed. By the time we reached Bindisi, she passed away not long afterwards.
We understand that from the forest you traveled on to Mukjar. Can you tell us how long this journey took and if many people were traveling with you and what happened on this journey?
Yeah. Last ile ina like ile tanin kun kiba ko nga tabani da ki duliya idi ki ona kamu na gi ku leddi nan ko nga ina la gaban dio nan tani kamu arran khalas ma naska wala na mujar kenika naska wala na kiyo khalas dora taban dora re buloba kilul kiyo kiyo na kaba kitabe la kiyo na kaba dora dinga kindoke ne tarnas loe kote ngalan kilnya irhab taben ziki shadid ana mujar kawa kitab taben kiya anu ka taban kai da zaman lepa sa ba kudin iyan kanga kudin mare ko inke na dukai ta ina ga kaba ko indara kiuna ka ya lan kuro.
Answer. We were moving in daytime, and so we spent the night in the forest. That was the first night, the second night as well. And due to the rain, the tiredness, it was raining cats and dogs. We then moved to Mukjar. On the way, nothing wrong happened because we moved in night time and we had children with us. The children were particularly exhausted and their legs or feet were swollen out of tiredness. Eventually, we reached Mukjar. That is, myself, my mother, and my siblings who were younger and whom we carried on our backs until we reached Mukjar.
When you arrived in Mukjar, I suppose there were many displaced persons there. Where did you find shelter?
Kiyo ba mind elen sor kafo. As bar nga di suwu pegi na mind ide kiro ka wazin ka dola nga di nakamin titi. Arang mas kawra nas na kiyo nas kari sugun di taba na jerki sugun di kafo ba. Alam sasonga kwa kiro warke tonga alam bar nga tonga wazin kini. Lakin kiyo sugun di kafo ba. Luas kumuwa. Las. Taban. Basta na kaya ba matamin sila.
The foreign interpreter indicates that he is not able to hear because of the interruption in the sound feed.
Interpreter, did you hear the first part of the response or nothing at all?
Answer. When we moved from the forest to Mukjar, we reached Mukjar right outside the village. We were a large number and therefore we were not able to go to the homes of our relatives. So we stayed outside the village and we prepared the famous asida dish. By evening time, we managed to visit our relatives to let them know of our arrival there.
Madam, the connection was not good. But after you arrived at your relative's house in Mukjar, could you stay with them or did you have to stay somewhere else?
Alan tonga kiyo ba ala. Taban mu yar ala karra ska na tagin kwa maru pas ka na. Kiyo na suk si kafo ba. Kurun karim. Las. Nama alang bide da do kwese nas matam sike nama ide dake kangal ide kurun karim dake kangal. Nama isim kwa arang khala nama isim kwa dui maraji kudenya abanga. Ni naslu abaimba. Al dui gutiang kwa in. Loling alki ndo la dio bi tena kunye ya te uzika wing anya na dai ngaba.
Answer. When we reached Mokshar, we went to the market. We spent some time at the market. Afterwards, a gentleman who had a restaurant, upon seeing the state in which we were, he provided us with a gutia, a hut made of straw and mud. And we entered that hut, especially the children entered the hut.
And how was the food and water situation for you and your siblings?
يا إنا خلاص نما البا قال سارة إيد البا دولا كوم كيبا طبعا وتيم كويتيزي كيبا راكوبا كريكم البا لو ليلا نما قال كورو ندولا سي قال كورون كرين كاوني أنا قال دو سيس ميساها كوندي أنا قال دو قال سوبيان دير سبرانغ ما كرر كاوني كورون كرين كي دولا أنا كاين كوربيلو كاين واتنا كابون كورون كرين كمون رو طبعا كورو لو ويلا رو كنا ما كان ناس كورو كندول na arang kanni nas baya kela el sor kanne baya kela ko era san ken nas ke akil dika aya saba ni jame ngakaba.
Answer. When we reached the market and when the aforementioned gentleman provided us with a small hut for the sake of our children, our habit became to allow the children every morning to go to the restaurant owner to work. By staying near the restaurant, we were blocking his ability to work. Actually, we were leaving during daytime to spend the time under a tree and would come back in nighttime to stay at the hut. We would also go search for firewood, which we used to prepare food. As regards water, it was the fall season and we did not have a problem regarding access to water.
Were there diseases amongst the displaced persons?
Zubab sejala ila alamin den kutur na afa ko ilal ko asilabde las nama zubab dawla nama insana زي إسحالات فيه ولا كويتي ولا دوابو وإسحالي بس إسحال أي تقولوا الوجه ده إسحال خلاص بعد الإسحال ما سوى فايتا حسلي شوفا دوال دكيا نسكو سلي نكوا أبا كبير السنة na wafayata sasama ini yom tawin dio dual doke kam ko seri na popuma las no kwa taban taben ki shedit lanu na muana ti anga ba ngeri dal taba.
Answer. When we went to Mokshar, there was a huge number of flies that appeared due to the many displaced persons who ended up in Mokshar and also due to rain. The flies caused diseases, especially diarrhea that afflicted children and the elderly. There were consequently a large number of deaths among children and among the elderly. The suffering was intense.
You and your family stayed in Muksha for about 4 months. Is that correct?
مم. 4 شهور تكون 8 9 10 11 بعد خلاص نمس كلا أني لسه سمعنا زباب إلى سالت عن الزحمة إلى خلاص نما ينقوانا أنا مرن أنا تاني أنا قلبي بندسي كمان شوية كده تلو فعلا نكاين كان كيني نكاندي نكام نمتين شوية كده دكرا كي خلاص نما ينكلنا نقل سنتاني قل كينا دولا كبا نقل كينا نبندسي كوما manin kanni nama kis sugu guru abakal dual ko teki lulu abona kan
The foreign interpreter indicates that the later part of her answer could not be heard. Answer. Indeed, we spent 4 months in Mukshar, beginning from August through November. Due to the huge number of flies and due to overcrowding, we went back to Brindisi. We depended on the crops we had left behind. We used corn sticks. We ate them as our main staple.
You never returned to your home village, Kudum, did you?
kudum طبعا kudum ya bat kan anini banang zai مرات نما زي أبونا panga alkirialang solang uwa kawa kanama jona kandi jandi ma jabil nazala ite bindisi naze pulo ngadi zurto alanga dora jana kama na duz di biro kin dora doke kiela ba doke kanga kanini alas na kanga
Answer. We would only occasionally go back to Kudum. The elderly, in particular, would go back to Kudum. Given their elderly age, they would not be stopped or questioned by the Arabs. And so we would rely on the elderly. We would send the elderly to go back to Kudum to bring fava beans for children and also to bring corn used to make bread for us to eat.
Madam President, this would be a good moment for the break because I'm changing the topic.
Yes, Madam, there'll be a break now for 30 minutes. After that, you will resume giving your views and concerns, and we trust that you will be able to finish by lunchtime. So thank you very much. We'll see you in half an hour.
Rise, veuillez vous lever.
كويس إن شاء الله. كويسة كويس إن شاء الله.
The participating victim, fine.